You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on back after a long weekend, right? Not so long. Yeah, I know you missed me. But you know what I didn't miss? Hearing from Anthony Fauci. But actually, I didn't get a chance to miss him because he was on TV all over the airwaves this weekend. And that is what's driving me crazy today. Yes, Anthony Fauci was on all the Sunday shows. And you know what he was saying? He was saying, this is never going to end because he does not want it to end. He doesn't want his fame to end. He is an attention whore, and he does not want his reins of power to be taken from him. His status as our national nanny telling us what to do. He does not want that to be taken from him either. And he is not going to give that up easily. He is going to give it up only kicking and screaming with a huge struggle. And we saw that this weekend in his various appearances on the Sunday shows. Now, I saw him and paid particular attention to one interview. I saw him on this week with George Stephanopoulos, but the most important interview I think he gave was the one with the miserable, arrogant, smug Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd threw him a softball. He opened up the door and said, "Hey, we're still going to be wearing masks, aren't we?" And Anthony Fauci said, well, let's show you what he said because this is crazy. Watch this.
So what is this? Okay, let's get to mask wearing because this is where, you know, at what point can we stop wearing masks outside? At what point, if vaccinated people get together, do you take the masks off? And are we going to, but is the mask going to be something we have with us in a seasonal aspect?
You know, that's quite possible. I think people have gotten used to the fact that wearing masks clearly, if you look at the data, diminishes respiratory diseases. We've had practically a non-existent flu season this year merely because people were doing the kinds of public health things that were directed predominantly against COVID-19. The Australians during their winter, same thing. They had almost no flu, largely due to the kinds of things, including mask wearing. So it is conceivable that as we go on a year or two or more from now, that during certain seasonal periods, when you have respiratory-borne viruses like the flu, people might actually elect to wear masks to diminish the likelihood that you'll spread these respiratory-borne diseases.
See, he does not want to give up on this mask idea. And let me tell you how this works. Chuck Todd did not just throw this out there just because. He didn't just come up with this at random from his head, saying, hey, are we still probably going to need to wear masks seasonally? What happens on shows like this, because I've done shows like this, is that the producers talk with the guest. Basically, they talk them to death off the air for a lot longer than they're ever on the air. And they ask them, hey, what kind of stuff do you want to pitch on the show? What kind of stuff can we ask you? This is very heavily rehearsed and choreographed. And Fauci told the producers that he feels we should still wear masks seasonally. That's how that question came about. Fauci does not want us to ever give up on masks. Now, great. So the flu went way down. We didn't get rid of all the flu, though. You know how you get rid of all flu and all viruses forever? You stay home. You never have any contact with anyone ever again. Everything's done by robots. And you never live your life. We could have that, and then we'll have zero flu spread. Isn't that what he wants? He wants perfect. And as we always know, perfect is the enemy of the good. We are not out to have a perfect life. We're out to have a good life. You cannot have perfection. We should not be wearing these masks right now, even with all of the people vaccinated. This is absurd. So now he wants us to wear this seasonally forever to stop the flu? Really? Come on. We need to go back to normal. Back to normal as it was a year and a half ago. We need to return to normalcy. We cannot have this anymore. Fauci needs to retire. He needs to go away. He will never do that, unfortunately. And the powers that be, Joe Biden right now, appointed him the head of his COVID advisory committee. And also the other powers that be, the media. They cannot have enough of this guy, this nanny that I never invited to take over my life. And it's ironic that he said this on Mother's Day. It was like, forget your mother. I'm your mother now. Who's your mother now? Anthony's your mother now. That's what he thinks he is. It's ridiculous. Now, he's a bit of a hypocrite on the masks. You've probably seen video and a lot of pictures. So first, take a look at this video of him testifying before Congress. So he was at some committee meeting. There he is taking off his mask because, hey, the cameras are off. Nobody's watching, or so he thought. And he's just standing around there. It's not like he's taking his mask off because everyone's left the room. You can see somebody in a chair sitting behind him. There's somebody else walking over there, and her mask is off. Is he telling her not to? And there he is. By the way, this video is almost a minute. We're only an hour show, but we showed you he was walking out of the room without his mask on. He's a hypocrite. He wears his mask when he wants to, when the cameras are around, just like the Bidens. But when he thinks the cameras aren't there, he takes it off because rules for thee, but not for me. You're the little people. I'm Anthony Fauci, your big mama. I'm your mother on Mother's Day. I'm your daddy on Father's Day. Who's your daddy? Who's your mommy? That's me, Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci. Yeah, and he wants you to wear your mask at all times so that he can control you. But he doesn't need to be controlled. He's better than you. He's apparently immune to all contagions. Yes, I know he was vaccinated, but he's been telling us that apparently the vaccines don't work. He's a vaccine truther. He thinks they don't work. And he says that even if you're vaccinated, you still need to wear your mask. So why isn't he? And that's not the only time. Now, we have pictures of him from a year ago, last summer in July, when, we still had lots of cases. We did not have a vaccine at all. And here he is at the opener for Major League Baseball for the Washington Nationals. And look, there he is, terribly throwing out the first pitch. Can't throw to save his life. Mask prominently on. But then, when he's out of the spotlight and he forgets the cameras are watching, there he is in the bleachers. And this woman, I think that's his wife maybe, or his daughter, who knows. She has her mask completely off. She's just holding it. He has his mask completely off. It's just under his chin. And then there's another picture of him sitting in the bleachers. There he's talking to his friends, laughing. Isn't he worried about aerosols? He talked about aerosols yesterday on Meet the Press and how we know they could spread so far, as if that's news. This isn't the first time we've heard that. There he is laughing, yucking it up. There was no vaccine then. Why was his mask off? Why? Where are the answers? Nobody ever asks him those questions. They never ask him because he only goes to the media where he is safe, where people are going to ask him friendly things like Chuck Todd. You saw that. Hey, Dr. Fauci, do you think we need to wear masks seasonally? Oh, yes, we got to wear them seasonally. Of course. This is what's going on with this guy. He's a phony. He's a fraud. He wants you to wear a mask. He did not even wear a mask when there was no vaccine, so he could not possibly have been vaccinated. He's a fraud, complete and total. Now, when we come back, we've got some more stuff about how they're trying to continue to control our lives, even though America is supposedly opening back up. Apparently, it's not that open, not as much as we had thought or hoped. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Back.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser, that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark.
Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee.
We'll even ship them to you free.
This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit buynighthero.com. That's buynighthero.com. Order now.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we're talking about how Anthony Fauci, Joe Biden, and the others on the left do not want us to return to normal life, because then that means they have less control over us and we can think for ourselves and we don't have to rely on them for anything. They don't want that. They want to be our national mothers and fathers. That's why I don't think it's a coincidence that Anthony Fauci was talking about how we still have to wear masks forever, seasonally, with no deadline, no end in sight. On Mother's Day, that's why he announced it. He's our mommy and our daddy. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Yeah, that's how he thinks. That's what's going on. And it goes as far as day camps. So kids, we know that kids do not spread COVID. We know their chances of getting it and spreading it to others are very, very low. We know this. We've had over a year to take a look and to see the results. We know this. The statistics are there. And kids are about to get out of school and they'll be headed to camp, or so parents had hoped. But take a look at this headline. This is from the New York Times. Vaccinated 12 to 15-year-olds at U.S. camps will be able to remove masks outdoors. So that's outdoors only. That's the implication there, the CDC director says. First of all, 12 to 15-year-olds probably don't need to be vaccinated. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give medical advice. But let's say they're vaccinated. They can only remove their masks outdoors, not indoors. What? So the CDC, again, is saying, just like they said to adults, that the vaccine does not work. Because if it did, why can't they take their masks off everywhere? Why? What is the reason? The CDC isn't telling us. That's from the New York Times. So your kid is vaccinated. You made them cry to get the shot, maybe even 2 shots, and they're crying the whole time. And what do they get for that? Nothing. They get to take their masks off outside. Who was wearing a mask outside? Only morons. You're not going to get COVID outside unless you're like right next to someone and you're literally spitting on them, your germs. And even then, it's not a guarantee. Outside, there's a breeze. This is absurd. These kids need to go back to camp like normal kids without masks on. Yeah, outside or inside. This is absurd. We must move ahead. Now, this is a tweet from a very surprising source, a liberal by the name of Nate Silver. If you're familiar with that name, no surprise, he's from the famous website that he founded, 538. He's an expert on. He's a liberal. His website is owned by the company that owns ABC and ESPN, yes, Disney, although he's kind of gone back and forth with his affiliations with them. He does commentary for This Week with George Stephanopoulos. He's a smart guy, but he often gets it wrong. He predicted Trump would lose the first time around. The second time around, he thought it was very close, and so on. But you know what? Like a broken clock, or at least unlike a broken clock, which is right twice a day, he's right once, maybe in a decade. And check out this tweet. He's got a great point. One thing I find a bit weird is that the discussion of how the herd immunity math might play out in the U.S. often brushes past the role that natural immunity from having had COVID plays. Experts estimate that about 1/3, or approximately 1/3 of the U.S. population has had COVID at some point. Now, he added that to the numbers of people who were immunized. So let's say it's about 40 to 45% of Americans are immunized, and then you've got that 1/3 that have already had COVID. We should already be at herd immunity because we're almost at 80% given that number. Now, he's saying you can't include everyone because some of the people who had COVID already and have natural immunity went and got the vaccine. So some of the numbers overlap. I bet it's not that many because a lot of people know that they've had COVID or they suspect. Like me, I suspect that I got it actually from the people from Beck when they came to visit me a year ago, December. And they had met with someone from China, and some of them suspect that they got COVID, and I think I got it from them. I've never been so sick in my life. I think I had COVID. And so I think I've got that immunity, but I haven't been tested yet for antibodies. Now, when you go to get the vaccine, often they will test you first for antibodies. I am going to go get tested for antibodies. I think a lot of these people know. I think when they find out they have antibodies, a lot of them don't get the vaccine. It's a waste of resources to do that. So we don't know, but it's interesting that even Nate Silver brings up this point that Anthony Fauci does not want you to know about. And there have been other doctors who are experts on this. A doctor named Marty Makary, who's been in the Wall Street Journal often, and he has said that at least 1/3 of the country has natural immunity. He thinks that by this summer, this is going to be behind us. And I think he's right. And guess what? We're almost at the summer. I mean, we are in mid-May. The summer starts in June. So that is coming up. All right. And I think we are past this. So he's still telling us wear masks seasonally. They're still telling us, the CDC, kids can't wear masks at camp, or kids can't go maskless at camp. That's absurd. Move on and upward, America. We need to go back to normal. All right. Then there is this. I want you to take a look at this tweet comparing Michigan under Gretchen Whitmer with Ron DeSantis. So look at the deaths, and we're going to go back to this tweet a little later in the show if we have time. But look at this. So Gretchen Whitmer, who actually now may actually have a race on her hands for re-election in Michigan and has been falling in the polls, she was nominated for a Profile in Courage Award. Profiles in Courage was the book that JFK never wrote. He had a ghostwriter write it for him, a guy named Schlesinger, and she is being honored for this, for courage. She showed no courage. She's a serial killer of people in nursing homes and a serial killer of jobs. That's courageous? No, it isn't. So compare that to Ron DeSantis, who did not get nominated, and this guy, Max Nordau, which this is a fake name, Max Nordau, he said, look, compare the deaths. Michigan is 16th in COVID deaths at the time he tweeted this per 1 million, 1,913 per million, whereas Florida's 28th, 1,653, well below the national average of the U.S., which Michigan under Whitmer is above. And so he makes a good point. Where does Ron DeSantis go to get his profile in COVID Courage Award? Yes, where does he go to get it? So here's why they're honoring her in the face of backlash and threats. What? Governor Whitmer invoked emergency powers. Yes, she stole businesses. She serially killed businesses. She serial killed jobs to contain the spread of the virus. She didn't contain it. Issuing early controversial orders. Yes, she got overruled by all the courts. And now that she's fallen in the polls, she doesn't have most of these rules anymore. She's not courageous. She's a coward who gets ruled by the polls and politics. So, yes, where does Ron DeSantis go? Indeed, Max Nordau is absolutely right. All right, when we come back, we will give you an update on a man we showed you on Friday who was beaten by the Antifa Black Lives Matter crowd in Portland. You got to see this. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, on Friday, we showed you video of what's going on in Portland. Violence is a regular occurrence in the streets. The people are at their mercy of these crazy far left rioters from Antifa and Black Lives Matter. The police are nowhere to be seen. And we showed you a minivan that had its tires slashed and its back window broken out, and they tried to pull the person in the car out. We showed you a truck that was being blocked, and when the guy got out with his small firearm against all of their AK-47s and other guns like that, other firearms, and they beat him senseless. Well, here's the video of him in the hospital where he had to go as a result. Take a look.
Joe Hall has a long recovery ahead of him.
Partially collapsed left lung, two lower vertebrae fractured.
That's on top of 5 broken ribs, a broken collarbone, and head trauma.
I stood my ground, and I would do it all over again.
Hall, a local handyman, says he was trying to defend himself after getting stopped in his pickup by a crowd in the street and other vehicles along North Alberta near Michigan Avenue.
All of a sudden, these agitators come out, screaming, pounding on my truck.
He said he tried to go around the group, but stopped and got out of his car after he thought he hit something.
By this time, I've got 5 people surrounding my vehicle, AR-15s, AK-47s.
Hall said people in the crowd were calling him derogatory names and pointing guns at him. While his door was open, Hall told me someone took his keys and his less lethal firearm, so he grabbed his pistol.
I pulled my .38 out of my right pocket and pointed it at the ground and told them if a weapon points at me again, I will shoot to eliminate the threat.
Shortly after that, Hall said someone tackled him to the ground and took his gun. Videos posted to social media showing the event unfolding with posters praising the crowd's disarming of the man. A neighbor telling me she saw part of the scuffle from her window.
It looked like he was face down and then the people were kneeling on top of him.
I was in fear of my life.
Hall wonders why Portland police didn't intervene. More 911 calls were made from other intersections Thursday, including Interstate Avenue and Killingsworth, where a driver reported a crowd smashed out their back window and slashed their tires. For Hall, this was the last straw.
I'm done. I'm done working in Portland. I'm shutting my business down, and I'm probably not going to be coming back.
Hall did file a police report for assault and told me he's pursuing a bias crime charge based on what he says people were yelling at him. I reached out to one of the march organizers on Twitter but didn't hear back. Also, no word from PPB yet on any investigative updates, citations, or arrests. Live in studio, Camilla Ortiz, Fox 12 Oregon.
Yeah, so we showed you the video on Friday of what happened to him, and I want you to take a look at that video again.
You better not! You better put your gun down! Hey, back! Leave! Get out of here now! Get out now! Leave! 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 Don't you dare! Get the weapon! Get the weapon! Get the weapon! Get him on the ground!
Yeah, so they kicked him in the head. They badly beat him, very badly, and that's why he's in the hospital. And you heard what he said. He's leaving Portland. He'll never go there. And this is going to happen. It's in cities throughout America. If you think this is only going to happen in Portland and nowhere else in America, you are mistaken and you're a fool, because this is just one place in America. Joe Biden's not doing anything. There was a brief restoration of law and order in Oregon and in Portland in particular when Donald Trump threatened to send in and then did send in federal agents, and he was going to send in troops. And then Kate Smith, the governor of Oregon, pleaded with him, don't send in your people, I'll maintain law and order. But she's not doing that now. All of these people are to blame. They're all liberal Democrats. None of them will do anything to protect their citizens. And this is supposed to be the United States of America, where the ultimate civil right is your life. And they need to protect that. That is the purpose of government. It's not giving out social welfare. It's protecting you. They're not doing that. That is very scary. That could happen anywhere, and it is happening in other places. This is just the video we have from Oregon. And we showed you that other van and what happened with that on Friday, but we're only an hour show, so we can't show it to you again. But that said, I would like you to consider something else that I've been warning you about, and that is the pipelines. So Joe Biden has been telling us we're going to have to cut emissions in half in the next 8 to 10 years. Joe Biden has told us that he is yanking the permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. That's over. That's canceled. He's considering doing the same for the Dakota Access Pipeline. And remember that Aaron Rodgers, who wants to be the next host of Jeopardy, he signed a letter with his actress, crazy left-wing activist girlfriend to beg Joe Biden to pull the permit for the Dakota Access Pipeline. And remember, there is a federal court case going on right now with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe trying to get that shut down. That could happen. Well, we see the results of it because right now in most states in the union, gas is at $3 or more a gallon. This is much higher than pre-pandemic levels. It is much higher. Who can afford this? And it's going way up. In places like California, it's above $5 in a lot of places and getting to be $6. We can't afford this, and this is by design. Joe Biden wants to make it so unbearable that we are begging for electric cars, and that is going to be the end of the oil industry in America and also the coal industry and so on. So states like Texas and North Dakota that are the top two producers of oil in the union, they're going to be out of business. All the businesses that rely on all the workers, they are going to be out of business too. This is a disaster. And we saw the consequences of what happens because over the weekend, the Colonial Pipeline, which is also a privately owned pipeline, just like the Dakota Access Pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, which is owned by a company called Colonial, it carries over half the oil for the East Coast. And it goes from Alpharetta, Georgia, upward and downward across the East Coast, carrying oil and gas. And you need gas to drive. We all know that, unless you have one of these fancy Teslas like Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan's father, the one that was so sick that she had to fly on a private plane to Florida unvaccinated to see him. And then he was in Michigan driving a Tesla. So, and picking up a Tesla. So that oil pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, was attacked by hackers over the weekend. It shut the pipeline down. And guess what? The prices are going to go much higher because of that in gas and oil. And that is going to affect not just the East Coast where that pipeline is, but all over the country. They don't operate in just a vacuum. When something happens in one part of the country to a pipeline, it goes all over the country. It affects us all, and the prices go up everywhere. This is what Joe Biden wants. This is by design. This is the Green New Deal in action. They want you to suffer enough that you are going to have to drive something, anything, and it's going to be a battery-operated car. And by the way, Elon Musk was on SNL this weekend, in case you missed the news that's everywhere. He hosted it. And as we all know, he's the head of Tesla. And he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire because of it. But Tesla is only in existence with its electric cars and its batteries because we subsidized it. They got multi-millions and even over $1 billion in subsidies under Barack Obama. That's how they exist. Otherwise, they would not exist today. They would be bleeding money. They would have been out of business years ago, shuttered. And what has happened? We subsidized them. And now they're still not profitable from cars, from these electric cars. They are profitable only because of trading energy credits. That's why they're profitable. This is the fraud that is green energy. It does not work. All right, when we come back, more on the Caitlyn Jenner candidacy, because I have people with mixed feelings about it, and I want to discuss it, see what you think. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money. So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we have talked about this a couple of times on this show in the past week and a half, and that is the candidacy of Caitlyn Jenner for governor of California. I think it's a great idea. I don't approve of the whole trans thing. I think it's not normal. I think people who make those kinds of permanent changes to their bodies have something wrong up here. They are mentally kind of cuckoo. That said, that's California. It's a place that's mentally cuckoo. They don't call it the granola state for nothing. It's fruits, nuts, and flakes. And so I think they need something, a twist, a Republican with a twist like a Caitlyn Jenner. I would much rather have Reagan in a bra and panties than Marx and Lenin in gender-appropriate attire. So I have a lot of followers on social media with mixed views on this. I've had people say to me, I don't want to normalize this to my children. Well, it's too late. I agree with you, but unfortunately, it's too late. You've got RuPaul with a whole show on this. You've got actors and actresses who were born the opposite sex at birth and still are by DNA and chromosomes. And the fact is that they are being normalized, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. We have lost this battle, and especially in California, a decent conservative who is straight-laced and gender from birth is never going to be elected in California ever again. Reagan was the last of that kind. Yes, I know there have been Republicans since Reagan, but he was the only real conservative. You had moderate establishment Republicans after that. people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's not a Republican. Look at his politics. He's to the left of the left. He agrees with AOC on most things. He disagrees with us on most things. And you had other people between Reagan and Schwarzenegger, same thing. So they were moderate and establishment. Caitlyn Jenner is actually a Reaganite and is conservative down the line. So would you vote for somebody like this? Would you have a problem with it when you know the choice is Gavin Newsom in exchange or in response? So I've got a couple of opposing tweets that I took off Twitter as Caitlyn Jenner was making the rounds, and I think talking truth to power making a lot of sense. Take a look at the first tweet. So the Republican Party is not the middle party, it's the party for family values. I agree, but they've kind of given up on that. And trans ideology is distinctly anti-family. Not only that, but do you really think that someone who would do that is fit to be a leader? I get that you don't care about what they do, but still, well, yes, you raise a lot of great points that are applicable to most of the states in the union, but not California. You are never going to get a pro-family, straight white male from birth conservative or straight white female from birth conservative elected governor. You just will not. And I think that that is what is understood by the second tweet. Take a look. So this is Lisa, Rock Princess 818. No traditional Republican is ever going to be governor of California. The state is too wacky and too bleeped up. The trans Olympian sounds less insane than the Democrats at this point. Amazing. And it is amazing, but it is true. Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, the former Bruce Jenner, does make a lot more sense than Gavin Newsom, even if he/she cut off body parts, added new ones, and wears a bra and panties. Sometimes you have to do the pluses and the minuses. And I realize everyone has their deal breaker that they, a line in the sand they cannot pass. They cannot go over that line in the sand. That is not it for me if I were living in California. Heck, I live in Michigan. I would vote for Caitlyn Jenner over Gretchen Whitmer. And in a related story, by the way, there is a transgender Olympian. And, you know, Caitlyn Jenner said that it's not fair. It is not fair for males from birth to change their gender, pretend they're different, they're a new gender, and compete against girls and women. He said that. She said that. And one of the things the media constantly raised in North Dakota to with regard to Ben Koppelman's bill, trans bill, and also with regard to the West Virginia one, in which the West Virginia governor actually had some cojones, and he actually signed it into law, and he was questioned by Stephanie Ruhle at MSNBC. And all of them, the North Dakota media, Stephanie Ruhle, other national media said, well, there's no examples. You're just making this up. There's no examples of this actually happening. Well, there will be at the Olympics if it's actually held this summer as planned. There will be a trans athlete from New Zealand competing in the next Olympics. I want you to take a look at trans athlete Laurel Hubbard. Laurel Hubbard is a man that is now thinks she is a woman. Laurel Hubbard was born Gavin Hubbard. And look at that. So this person is a weightlifter. This person is going to compete in the Olympics against female weightlifters. Is that fair? Absolutely not. He/she is going to win because he's really still a male. There is an advantage, and hormones will not get rid of that. Contrary to what Governor Burgum said in North Dakota, that person is going to win. And it's going to be an illegitimate win. But just watch. He/she is going to get the gold medal. Just watch. All right, and in another related story, so puberty blockers, we showed you how our Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, Dr. Rachel Levine, who used to be Dr. Richard Levine, said that kids should get puberty blockers. Young kids who don't know anything about life, who are in a phase, who may think, oh, I want to be a man, or I want to be a woman, or I want to be a boy, or I want to be a girl. They don't know better. They get these puberty blockers, and then they are never going to be normal again. Well, Sweden has banned these things. Sweden, that we think of as so liberal. But guess who's promoting them and affirming this and putting government money behind it? Canada. So this is absurd. Now, when we come back, Elise Stefanik, Donald Trump's chosen candidate for the chairman of the House Republican Conference, the number 3 Republican, she's a liberal. She is against Donald Trump, and we will show you how after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we've already told you how puzzling it is that Donald Trump is endorsing Elise Stefanik over Liz Cheney for the chairmanship, or I guess it's chairwomanship or chairship. I don't know. With all these politically correct words these days, I just don't know. But the chairman of the House Republican Conference, chairwoman, is now Liz Cheney. And she voted to impeach Donald Trump. Yes, she must go. I absolutely agree with that. She must go. But to replace her with someone that is a liberal, which Elise Stefanik basically is, who was anti-Trump, who does not support America first, this is absurd. And we already told you 2 ways in which she was bad. I mean, we showed you 2 tweets from 2 different Secure Borders groups. She is 100% on the side of open borders. She agrees with what's going on at the southern border right now. And that is one of our best campaign issues against Joe Biden and the Democratic leadership. So why would we give that up by getting a comrade in open borders arms as the leader, the third in command of the House Republicans and the head of the Republican conference? Why would we do that? Listen to some of the things that Elise Stefanik did. So I think we've got some tweets on her. I think we have those. All right. In 2019, Stefanik backed a bill to keep 10,000 troops in Afghanistan. And then we've got another tweet about her. Elise Stefanik, GOP conference chair favorite, voted with Trump less than Liz Cheney. All right. So she voted with Trump only 78% of the time. Liz Cheney voted with Trump 93% of the time. And there's more. So she voted to expand the H-1B visas, which are basically given to computer programmers who have the same skills as Americans and take their jobs and drive down their wages. Why would we do that? She also voted to expand the agricultural workers bill. I told you about that before. She wants more people in here to become terrorists. We know that some of the 1993 World Trade Center bombers had agricultural worker visas. We don't need more agricultural workers. We need the wages to go up, and then Americans can take those jobs. The other thing that she voted for, and this is mortifying, she voted against Trump and to keep America in the Paris Accords. Why would we want to do that? That means we would have to cut pipelines. We would have to cut our use of gasoline and oil and coal. And we would have to go to electric cars and electric batteries. And we would be subsidizing China's emissions. Why would we do that? Elise Stefanik wants that. So, again, I'm kind of puzzled, and so are a lot of other people. Why her? And yet Trump and Kevin McCarthy, the Republican minority leader, have endorsed her. And you know what? Keep doing that, and we will continue to be in the minority. We won't win elections. You're taking away our issues and, frankly, the things that the American people need, like gas, like energy. We can't go all from fossil fuels to green energy. We saw what happened in Texas during the winter with that, with everybody freezing. Remember that? Do you want to return to that? And then North Dakota and other states, their energy bills went sky high because of this. All right, so there's that. Now, speaking of Republicans and Democrats running against each other and who can win and who can really take hold of what the agenda is, there's Gretchen Whitmer. So we showed you that tweet earlier where she is being nominated for this, or she's being honored. She was already nominated and chosen for the Profile and Courage Award. She didn't do anything courageous. She was a serial killer of jobs and people in nursing homes. And she still won't release the numbers to the Republicans in the Michigan legislature. She had some of the most draconian COVID conditions. She still has them. But she went down in the polls 20 points. And so she didn't reimpose some of the worst ones. But she's terrible. She is a terrible governor. Well, now, guess who's running against her? So the Detroit police chief, James Craig, is running against her. And we have a picture. Great police chief, did a lot of great stuff. The crime rate in Michigan, in Detroit, went way down. Murders went way down. Rapes went way down. Everything. And this is before COVID, when nobody went out. A great police chief. We did have riots in Detroit, but not as bad as everywhere else. And not only that, but he was out in front criticizing these protesters, saying that these rioters were not peaceful and that they came from other states and they were not from Michigan or from Detroit. So he's done a great job and he said almost all the right things. But I have a major problem with him. And what is that major problem? He is tight with Louis Farrakhan, the black David Duke, one of the biggest racists in America. And we've called him out on this show. Many conservatives have called out Louis Farrakhan. He is a constituent of the left, of the Democrats. He is tight with the Al Sharptons, with the Barack Obamas, with the Joe Bidens. Look at him. There he is with Barack Obama. And Barack Obama got his help when he was running for the state Senate. He had Nation of Islam people, acolytes of Farrakhan, helping to run his campaign. His treasurer was a Nation of Islam person. Many of his staffers were. So is that really the kind of person we want Republicans, just because they're black, to be tied with? I don't know, but I say no. This guy is bigoted against Jews. He's bigoted against whites. He is the Black David Duke. He hates Asians. He hates every constituency that is now coming over to the Republicans. He's a racist bigot. Do we want to ally with this guy who is a Democrat? No, we do not. Now, what was James Craig's involvement with Farrakhan? Well, I'll tell you. When Farrakhan came to Detroit on several occasions for Nation of Islam events, James Craig provided him a motorcade. He not only gave him a motorcade, but he gave several of the top Nation of Islam officials motorcades. Why would you give a racist, bigoted group that hates white people, that thinks that crime against whites is okay, that approves of these kinds of things, that approves of attacks on cops, motorcades? Louis Farrakhan has praised attacks on cops. Yes, he has. So James Craig had a meeting with him. He had several meetings with him. Now, he says he had meetings with him because Farrakhan supported violence and attacks on the police, and he wanted to talk to him to ask him why. Really? You're going to have meetings with the Black David Duke to ask him, why are you saying anti-cop things? Why would you do that? And why would you give him the accoutrement of a president, a motorcade, or of a vice president? This is a problem. So would you support a Republican for governor who is running against basically a statist socialist who is a black Republican that is tight with Louis Farrakhan? Would you? I don't know if I would. I think I might just throw my vote away and vote Libertarian. I'm not going to vote for Gretchen Whitmer, but this is a bad conundrum to be in. We'll see what he says about it. Remember, things are not always as they seem. We'll see you tomorrow.